There's a new way that a lot of people are talking about that is exciting and fun and really replicatable to go viral. Let's chat about it. Okay, so I feel like I'm not keeping a ton of secrets because the title of the video is like create a signature series, but OMG, this is how creators are blowing up right now. And honestly, it's been how creators have blown up forever, but people weren't giving it a name. And you can implement this whether you're doing long form content like here on YouTube or whether you're doing short form content on TikTok Shorts or Instagram Reels. I will say that I think this works best for short form content because it's really easy, digestible things that we can look forward to. However, this is exactly how people like Mr. Beast or like Mark Rober grow because they have episodic content. It's still a signature series. It just looks a little bit different for long form content. So here's what's happening. Creators are going on these short form platforms and they are creating literal signature series. So there's like this one where she is teaching people how she edits her videos. There's this one where the creator is documenting her life every Friday and she's calling it 52 Fridays. Erin on Demand has been doing a signature series on Instagram where she's talking about how she's going to be a millionaire in a year. There are so many ways to make this work for you and so many examples out there on the internet. So there's a few elements to a signature series that need to happen in order for this to work, in order for it to do well, in order for it to have the potential to go viral, in order for it to kind of have the effect that we want it to have. One, the filming and the cadence of your signature series needs to be similar with every video because it's really freaking recognizable. And I think that's one of the reasons that this works so well. When a creator is recognizable in any capacity, not just with a signature series, it makes it much quicker to grow because people like recognize you and they're like, oh my God, I love her, blah, blah, blah. But in a signature series, when that signature series is really easy to recognize, people instantly stop their scroll to watch because they've watched episodes in the past. So if you're gonna make your signature series like really casual, sitting on a couch or walking around or just talking to your phone, do that. But make every one of them that way. If you're gonna make your signature series more cinematic, where like, you know, you're using a better camera and you're like holding a microphone or whatever, okay, cool, do that. But the cadence, the editing, the filming, all of that needs to be pretty similar. Second thing that is gonna make a good signature series is that your audience actually wants to follow along with it. It needs to be specific enough to where an audience member is gonna be like, oh my God, I wanna see more about this, right? This could be following you along on the journey of something. This could be, you know, how they edit. This could be little pieces of a strategy. This could be anything. And we're going to talk more in a minute about like how to get ideas for your signature series, but this actually needs to be something that your audience cares about, your potential audience cares about, and is something that they actually would want each piece of the series to go along with. In other words, you don't want them to just want to watch one part of the series and not finish watching the whole thing. And the third thing that makes these like really, really work, that sets apart the successful ones from the unsuccessful ones, is to name it. Your signature series should have a name. Now listen, I don't actually think you need to name it immediately. I don't think you even need to tell people the name of it necessarily, but you need to in some way create like a tagline, a name, a sentence, something that is going to make sure that people know that they're watching something that is a series. So when I mentioned Erin on Demand and how she was doing, like she wants to be a millionaire in a year or whatever, every one of her videos that is in this series starts with, I'll say it if nobody else will say it, I want to be really, really wealthy.
Okay, well, if you won't say it, I will. I want to be really, really wealthy. And when I am, this is the house I'm going to have.
Now I'm actually like blanking on whether or not her series has a name, but she is naming it by saying the same thing or saying something similar every single time. The series 52 Fridays. Welcome to my series 52 Fridays. Like, she's naming it. I've done a few series before where I've shared editing techniques or filming techniques, and I do the same thing. A series works because it works. Like, people are used to watching a series. You don't start a show and watch like the second episode of a show and not watch the first one and then not watch the rest of them. Unless you just didn't like it, right? But that's not like normal watching behavior. If you see a series, people are going to want to watch the rest of it or go back and watch part of it. Now, I actually don't think the series or the technicalities around the series or anything we've talked about so far is actually why these work. But I'm going to save that to the end because we need to talk about a few more things that like go into the series, but I'll kind of give you my 2 cents on what actually makes these work. So a couple things. When you are thinking about creating a signature series, they are platform specific. What works on Instagram is going to be different than what works on TikTok, different than what works on YouTube Shorts, different than what works on YouTube Longs. So you have to think about the platform that you're creating for and what style of content does best, what types of, filming does best, what kind of content people are mostly consuming there, right? What I have noticed personally is that really highly produced signature series or even videos in general are not going to do as well on TikTok as they will on Instagram. And videos where you're just kind of talking to your phone and treating it like an Instagram story or a Snapchat story are going to do better on TikTok than they do on Instagram. Now, this is not a hard and fast rule, and definitely people are having success both ways, but I have personally noticed that the more polished a video is, it's not going to do as well on TikTok as the less polished videos, and then vice versa with Instagram. And I think the thing with Instagram is we already have Instagram stories where people are not polished, and so on Instagram Reels, they kind of want that polished look. If you're doing a signature series and it's long form, right? So maybe I want to do a long form series here on digital products. So I might do something like video 1, what is a digital product? Video 2, ideas for digital products. Video 3, how do you create them? Things like that, right? But I'm going to go way more in depth. I'm actually going to make it a long form video. If I was making that same signature series for something like TikTok or Instagram, it would be 30, 60, or 90 seconds. It's not going to be as long as like a 20-minute YouTube video. So creating a series, a signature series, is going to be different dependent on the platform you're on. Now, here's the real magic. How do you find ideas? How do you come up with an idea? How do you know what's going to be a good signature series? Number 1, you may already have an idea in your head. You may already be like, oh, I'm a lifestyle creator and I'm going to do a 10 video series about different coffees that I make. Or I am a sports mom and I'm going to do a series about the funny things that happen at sports practices. Or digital products. Maybe you want to break down a certain issue. You're like a political commentator and you want to break down a specific part of politics that you can do over the course of a series. You may already have that in your brain, right? And I would say do that, right? Because if it's already there, it probably is the right thing. But if you're like, oh, I just don't know, I really don't know, guys, how many times have I told you to hit up our good old buddy, ChatGPT? Now, you don't have to use ChatGPT. You can use Poppy AI or Claude or any AI you want to, okay? But use some kind of AI assistant and let it help you spark some ideas. I am not saying to completely remove your creativity, but if you are stuck, these are great unstickers. So people get so hung up on AI and these ChatGPT and these models because, okay, are they making us dumber? Yeah, probably. But I think there's such a cheat code for getting out of creative ruts. A big thing for me is I just won't create short form videos because I don't know what the hell to create them about. So sometimes for me, going into ChatGPT and being like, hey, I did these long form videos. What would a signature series look like for me? Or, hey, this is my niche. This is what I talk about. This is who I talk to. I would love to do a signature series and I want to make it fun and exciting and something that's more vloggy. What would you suggest I create one about? And let it help you break through that creative barrier. Is there something that you love? Is there something that you just absolutely love to talk about and you could talk about it for days? Do a signature series about that. Is there something, and this is a powerful one, is there something you want people to follow you along for? Do you want people to follow along while you start a new business? Do you want people to follow along while you learn photography? Do you want people to follow along while you teach yourself a certain software or learn to do a handstand or get 10,000 followers? There are so many series right now on TikTok where people are day 10 of me following ChatGPT's recommendations to get me to 10,000 followers by the end of the month. And they're freaking working.
Day 14 of following ChatGPT's plan to get me to 15K by the end of May. This is the biggest update for the new 15K goal.
So is there something that you want people to follow along for? Do it. That's the series. So I'll just give y'all a little spoiler alert, okay? So if you don't know, I started a second channel a few months ago where I was am doing commentary videos on different like cultural and social issues or things, right? So the first one I did was about like the weird things that people sell on the internet. And then the second one that I did was about MLMs. And that one did super well. That channel only has 100 and some subscribers and it had like 2,000 views. So very well, it did well. And this is something I'm really passionate about. I really want to have this second channel where I'm doing these types of videos because I love to create them. And as someone with ADHD who just loves to learn things and like has random hyperfixations about things that probably nobody else does, but eventually somebody on the internet is going to want to watch it, it's like right up my alley. So as I was typing out the notes for this video, and I typed out, like, is there something you want people to follow along for? I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I can create a series where I am bringing my audience on Instagram or TikTok or wherever along as I build this second channel, as I revive it and kind of, get started and do more videos on it, right? Like, I can do that. You can do whatever you want. There are no rules here, except that you need it to look like a signature series. You need it to be similar. You need it to be familiar. That's the rules. That's it. Now, remember a second ago when I said that I don't think it's the actual series that causes these to go viral or do well, and that I had some things to save until the end? Well, we are there, okay? But before I get to that specific, I want to say two things, okay? One, your first video in this series probably won't go viral. Your 5th video in the series may not go viral. It may be your 10th video that finally goes viral. It may be your second one, but you have to understand that the power here is that it's a repeatable format, and eventually something is going to hit with the algorithm and get you the exposure that you think it should get. Second important thing here, you can have multiple of these going at once. You can have a signature series about digital products. You can have a signature series about how you film. You can have a series going on about following you on this journey. You can have a series going on over here. Like, you can have multiple going on at once. There are no rules here. And then here's the real noteworthy thing, okay? I don't think the series is what is going to make you go viral. I don't think the fact that it is a series is what's going to help you go viral. Now, there are some elements to that because, again, if something does go viral, people will notice it's a series and want to watch more and also want to watch previous episodes. So there is an element. But I think the real magic here is the repetition. We're all struggling, all of us, with what to create on the internet. What kind of videos do I need to create? What should I do? What kind of things should I do? Blah, blah, blah. When you create a series, that work is done for you. You already know what you're going to create. You already know how this is going to work. You already know how, what the next episode is. You already know what you're going to do here, what you're going to do there. And you already have like kind of a built-in content calendar that is forcing you to be consistent, which is the magic of all of this. Because if you're consistently putting content on a platform and you're consistently getting better and learning and doing the things and consistently putting out good content that people actually want to watch, eventually something's going to hit. So a series helps you have all of that already and let the thing hit. So I'd love to hear in the comments below if you can already think of a signature series that you want to do, or if you go to ChatGPT and it helps you figure it out. I'd love to hear your ideas for your signature series below because, oh my gosh, we all need ideas. And if you start doing this, please tag me. I'd love to see them. Okay? Okay.